All right, welcome everyone. My name is Yao Ya. I'm the Executive Director of the Minnesota Hmong Chamber of Commerce. And I'm so happy that you all can join us today on this lovely day. Again, this is the Minnesota Hmong Chamber of Commerce Connections. The subject is Marketing Strategies for Small Businesses. This is presented by our sponsor, Manic. And we are going to get started here. Today's agenda. We'll do a quick welcome, and then we'll have an introduction by our presenting sponsor, Yiku. He's the president and founder of Manic, and our branding presentation from Manic's marketing director and partner, Johnny Xiong. We'll wrap it up with Q&A and also upcoming events. And again, I'm Yao. I'm the executive director. And we've been doing these monthly connections on and off for the past year. Unfortunately, we won't have a connections in December, but we'll definitely have a membership meeting where you all can see each other and meet each other. I do ask that if you can mute yourself right now so that we can start the introductions in the next slide here. When you're called upon, please unmute yourself. Don't forget to unmute yourself and speak for your segment there. And I have the pleasure of introducing our presenting sponsor, Yiku, who is the president, founder of Manic.
Thank you, Yao. Hey, everyone. So glad you guys can join us. Take time out of your day to take part in this seminar. I hope all of you will learn some skills and ideas on how to better market your business and take that away and start utilizing that. But before we get started, why don't we kind of do a brief, short introduction of your name and your business and what you do, or your profession. And so just so that everyone is acclimated with each other. So I'll start off with, I guess you guys already know Yao. So how about Cher?
Yeah, sure. I'd love to. Hi, everyone. My name's Cher, and I recently graduated from college. I attended Minnesota State University Mankato, and I majored in marketing. So currently, I'm an intern with MHCC, the Hmong Chamber of Commerce here, and I work with marketing and the digital side of like social media. I'm also a licensed realtor. Yeah, that's a little bit of what I do.
Thank you, Cher. All right, next person, Vip, if I pronounced it correctly.
Hi, yeah, that's absolutely perfect. It's Vipul, actually. You can call me Vibs. So me and my business partner Jaya Bhatia, which you see on the meeting.
Hello.
We both are a startup venture. We are into freeze dried product. We've been into financial services for a long time. We are trying to understand the go-to strategy, the marketing strategy in US. We both based in London.
Oh wow!
Yeah, originally from India. We want to. I mean, we find this this forum and probably we want to understand the strategy from your perspective. So that's the reason we are here.
Awesome. Well, thank you
Nice.
for joining us, Vip. And what was your partner's name again?
Jaya.
Jaya. Nice to meet you.
Hello, same
Yeah.
here.
All right. Next person, Liam.
Yeah. Do you guys hear me?
Yep.
All right. Good.
Yes, we can.
Again, thank you so much for hosting this event. My background is I've worked for Wall Street in the investment banking industry and private equity. So right now we have a consulting group, and we are growing rapidly. And I thought that today would be a good time to understand from small business standpoint of marketing strategy. So that's why I'm here today. So thank you very much again.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing, Liam. Vang?
Hey, good afternoon, guys. My name is Vangler with Farm Bureau Financial Services here. So I've been around in the Minnesota location about 2+ years, but I was super excited here. Affiliate with the Hmong Chamber and here to support you guys.
Sorry, we can't
Sorry.
hear you.
You're breaking in and out, Vang. So sorry if we only caught half of what you said. So
But sorry about that. I'm here to support you guys. Vangler with Farm Bureau Financial. Thank you.
all right, thanks, Vang. And then Jaya, I guess you can introduce yourself. It sounds like Vip already introduced you as well.
Yeah, sure. Probably I can just give you a little background about myself.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jaya, and as Vipul mentioned that, we are a startup and, we are trying to launch different products into the freeze dried as well. But, as far as my background is concerned, I come up with around 17 years of experience, which is into the banking and non-banking financial industry. And of course, we hail from India and settled down in London more than 10 years now. Yeah, definitely looking forward to get a lot of information from this seminar. So yeah, look forward for a lot of information over here.
Awesome. Thank you. And Nikita.
Hi everyone, I do branding with Manic, and I'm also social media manager for our local clients as well, and content creator.
Awesome. Thank you, Nikita. I think that's pretty much it. So without further ado, we're going to introduce our speaker today. And I want to talk a little about Johnny Xiong, just a little background about him. He is our marketing director. His background, Johnny's from a low-income family. One of his, and he's a minority like all of us. One of his notable accomplishments in his late teens is specifically at 19, he was able to start a residential painting company and sold $30,000 worth of business within a month. So I think that's quite an accomplishment for a 19-year-old. So as you can tell, he's very, very motivated and a fast-paced person. What he's done recently, Johnny has developed growth strategies for $5 million e-commerce and retail sector, and implemented a new CRM to over 130 plus users. By his mid-20s, he's in his mid-20s now, and he's a partner and marketing director of Manic. A few things that Johnny has nightmares about is letting others down and public speaking. So I'll let you guys be the judge of him today. Not to put any pressure on you, Johnny.
All the pressure.
But Johnny loves his family. He loves tech startups, League of Legends, Minnesota Timberwolves, and Minnesota Vikings. Yay. So without further ado, I'll let Johnny take it from here.
All right. Perfect. I was going to go to the next slide. Yeah. So just to make sure we're all on the same page, right? This is top 5 strategies for small businesses. Again, thank you everybody for taking the time. For those of you that are in the US, this is typically around lunchtime. So I know you'd rather be enjoying your lunch and eating your food rather than listening to me. So again, thank you so much. So in the next 30 minutes, you'll be learning, again, top 5 strategies for small businesses, things you can do that actually requires little to no budget. All it really requires is a little bit of elbow grease and a dream, right? So one thing I recommend is to stay until the very end of this seminar, because at the very end, what we'll do is I'll send a follow-up link with these top 5 strategies and actual checklists of what you can do to really execute on them, right? Then the last thing I ask is, I know there's a lot of distraction, your email, your phone, you're on Facebook, you're on social media. I just ask you to give me your full attention for the next 25 to 30 minutes, because I know these strategies will take your business to the next level. And I just don't want you to miss on any crucial step. Okay. All right, so go next. Okay, next, yeah. So here is a beautiful photo of me. Go next, yeah. I am that small person, right? I'm not I'm not my mom. I wish, this is back in the 90s and she had a perm going on. I wish I had her perm, because now it's trendy. So a little bit about me. So who am I? Why am I, why am I presenting this? How am I qualified to teach this, right? So as Yi had mentioned, at 19, I started an exterior painting company, right? I sold $30,000 of sales in a month. So next, yeah. Prior to graduating with my degree in marketing down in Mankato, I also was brought on full-time to develop growth strategies for a $5 million e-commerce segment. So for those of you that live in the Minnesota state, I actually work for one of Glenn Taylor's company. He's the owner of the Minnesota Timberwolves NBA team. And so I developed strategies to help grow through Amazon.com, Walmart.com, and even their own website as well. Next. And then prior to Manic, I implemented a CRM to about over 130 people, right? I was brought on to implement not only CRM, but marketing automation tools. And then third, to really help create and establish a sales culture, right? So my background really ranged from small business to big corporation marketing. And I think for me, what resonated the most with me was helping the small business and helping community, and hence Manic, right? We'll go next. So why you're here? I want to make sure we're all, again, here for the same reason. And originally, when I created this presentation to kind of hear a little bit about you, I think you all kind of shared a little bit. So I'm going to break this presentation into 3 departments, right? Or compartments. Number 1 is find your tribe. Number 2 is know where they reside, so kind of know where they live. And then number 3 is actually the strategies. How are you going to execute them, right? So I know this is a little bit more than just the 5 strategy, but I'll show you exactly why it's crucial to start from finding your tribe, to knowing where they are, to actual strategy. And go ahead next. So one of my favorite speakers is Tony Robbins, right? One of his quote is, the only impossible journey is the one you never begin. I know a lot of people are scared when it comes to marketing strategy, because there's so many, we don't know which one to start. My recommendation would be just choose one avenue, choose one channel, and start and experiment. Okay, so go next. All right, so here's a megaphone. Give you a little bit about traditional marketing. What marketing, traditional marketing usually is that these big companies, it's conducted by interrupting people, right? It's done by yelling at people, getting in front of people's faces about things that they don't want to hear, and about products that they don't want to buy, right? And so it's a numbers game for a lot of these companies, right? If they think about, if I can reach 1 million people and 10% of them convert, and I have an average sale of $100, I'm going to get X amount in sales, right? Unfortunately, for small businesses, we don't have millions of dollars in budget. And so going this traditional route of not really, again, interrupting people and pushing out ads and getting in front of people's faces all the time, it doesn't work for us, right? And so, for example, one thing I did with traditional marketing in one of my first business, exterior painting business, I did door knocking, and I also did direct mail, where I spent all my money, all my marketing money, on just door hangers, right? Where people will put door hangers on the door. And the one downfall was that I eventually went to all the entire city, did door knocking, did all the mailers, and then everyone eventually got tired of me, got bored of me, and they didn't want to talk to me at all, right? Which is why I only had, for that summer, $30,000 of sales. And so one of the biggest thing I learned is that this doesn't really always work for small businesses who are growing up, who really don't have their audience, right? So yeah, I'll go to the next one. And so it comes to the concept of building a tribe, right? Seth Godin, for those of you that don't know, Seth Godin is a marketing thought leader, and he talks about this idea of developing a tribe. And to really bring it down, it's just about finding your ideal customer, right? Starting with the goal, knowing who they are, knowing what they like, right? And building a tribe first before you even think about doing all these strategies. Go next, yeah. So some of the questions to ask yourself is who is your ideal customer, right? You go next. Who are they? Where are they? What are their pain points? And the last one is what are their goals and dreams? Really get specific and write these down. Get an idea of who they are, what they are, and go to the next one. Yep. And then give you some idea of Manic, right? So Manic, we have 2 ideal customers, and we like to call them by their name too. The first one we'll call them Mai, and the second one we'll call him too, right? But they share very common vision. They share very common values that we want to work with. So the first one is they're progressive and they're driven, right? They want to be thought leaders. They want to be in front of everyone, and then the second thing is they have a message to share, right? They're doing way more than just for the money, and that goes to the third product, which is they value personal growth over money. And then lastly, the fourth one is they are a Hmong business owner. So this doesn't mean we're excluding, we're intentionally excluding everyone so that we can start somewhere, right? Focus on a small goal, but this doesn't mean we only serve maybe a small Hmong business owner, right? We start there and we allow it to naturally grow. And then the last one, the last value, the last of our tribe that we want to build here at Manic is we want to work with people who want to have impact in their industry or their community, right? So this is the type of tribe we're trying to build over here at Manic, right? So before we even get to our strategy, we know who we're targeting. The next, we'll go next. One more. All right. And so just a quick, if you know it, if you don't, it's okay. Who's heard of this brand Quest? All right. Nope.
Not
Heard
in
of
UK.
it.
Sorry.
Yeah, okay. No problem. So Quest is huge in the US for a lot of as a protein bar, as a supplement in the supplement industry, right? So Quest was started in 2010. And one thing they did, right, before they really blew up, I actually watched them blow up. They focused on, back in 2010, there was no protein that didn't have low sugar content, right? Quest has, if you look at this image, 1 gram of sugar per bar. And the second thing is they focus specifically on a small community, right? They focus on a community that is health conscious, and they want quality product for their protein, right? And one community they focus, which a community that I was really involved in, was the bodybuilding community. And so what they did was their tribe was they focused on a small community of bodybuilders, very serious bodybuilders, and they started expanding and growing there. And then through the word of mouth, it started growing and growing. And the owner, he sold Quest for over about $500 million. And so that is the idea here, right? Before we even talk about strategies, do you know your tribe? Do you know who you're trying to target? Okay, go to the next one. And so, yeah, the idea is very simple. You want to sell to people who are actually listening to you, who are actually looking for you, right? With the age of social media, your phone, you can choose who you want to listen to. You can block out who you don't want to listen to. And so the goal is to try to find it, right? That's the hard question is you find people who are already talking about your industry or your product, and they have problems, and then you come up with a solution for it. And then lastly, go next. Once you sell to the people who are listening to you, they'll naturally tell their friends. Next. All right. So before we start, now we're actually digging into what you actually came here for, right? Some of the strategies. So before we start, what are some strategies you've heard of?
Influencer-based strategy.
Mm-hmm.
That's first thing comes to the mind these days. Digital world, people into working from home a lot. I think digital, that's the one thing. I don't know anyone else can add value to that.
I hear from Nikita, she's talking about like marketing automation. Yeah. Nice. All right. So we'll go to the next one. Those are all good ideas, exactly. And you know, there's a lot of strategies out there. I just want to focus with this presentation on the top 5 that I think that small businesses could do. And the first one is content marketing and SEO, right? And again, going back to the tribe idea, with content marketing and SEO, if you have a website, established website, or even if you don't, maybe you're just on a social media platform, you're pushing out content that is relevant to your ideal customer, right? So for the second one is social media, right? Social media is on there. It's fairly similar to marketing, but it's just focusing on the platform. The third one is email marketing. My favorite by far, it just takes a lot longer to build because now you have to build a list. Fourth one is pay-per-click, right? You're doing PPC advertisement, you're going through Facebook ads, Google ads, YouTube, Bing. And then the last one is collaborations, right? I would say this kind of falls in the realm of influencers, but influencers is a very specific strategy, but this collaboration could kind of cover that as well. And I'll explain a little bit about what I mean by that. And then you can go next to, these are other ideas that you can use, but again, there's so many ideas. I want to go back to the idea of just choose 1 or 2 and start moving, right? And so if there was anything that small business could do, is to choose one of these top 5 and just try to execute on it and experiment with it. Go next. So I'm going to talk about this individual. His name is Josh Myers, and he actually runs a skincare product company called Brickle. You go next. And his company is it's an 8-figure e-commerce business, right? You go next. And now he's at a point where he started with facial creams just for the men skincare, and now he's expanded to a multiple men product. So again, back to the point of he's focusing on one niche, one specific tribe of people, right? Men who cares about their face, right? They want to take care of it. And then from there, he's ignoring everyone else in the men industry who's doing maybe shampoo or who's doing body wash. He started with face care, right? So I'm going to use some example of what he's done to grow his business, and then talk a little bit about it on how maybe you can use it for yours as well. So content marketing, SEO, next, yeah. He had a website and he optimized each page for it. So what does that mean? What does optimizing mean? That means that each individual page that he had was designed to get the visitor to come and try to convert, purchase an item. And he optimized that page for keywords that his ideal customers were searching on Google, right? And then the second thing he did was content marketing. And he did that by writing articles, pushing out blogs on other platforms, other websites, right? He wanted to be a thought leader. He was providing valuable content online. So he was actually writing about things that his ideal customers wanted to learn or wanted to read, right? It wasn't, and then he got engagement, and then he was consistent. And then lastly, the third point on the very bottom, he was driving it to a landing page, right? So a landing page could be any page on your site that is, the intention is to get the reader to do something, whether that's buy an item, whether that's sign up for your newsletter. There is a purpose, right, between each page. And so just to recap about SEO, 2 things you need to do. Number 1 is just optimize that one page and be intentional with your landing page, right? You want them to do one thing. Don't confuse them with so many things. Do this, do X, Y, and Z, one thing. And then the second thing is Google ranks you based on the fact of links. So links are coming back to your website. And so one thing people like to do to really bring links to your site is they guest blog, they write on someone, they blog for someone else. So you can literally reach out to any news media, maybe a smaller scale if you're a startup, and say, hey, I wrote an article about this issue in the industry, would love to share it with your audience. They'll gladly take you on. You can write it. And all you ask for is, I want to link it back to my site, link it to a one specific landing page, right? Okay. The next one is going to be social media marketing. And so social media, there's so many different platforms. Each platform is focused on I mean, it's best for certain industry or products or services that you provide. Again, my recommendation is choose one and try to execute on it for the next 3 to 6 months. Okay. On back to the Josh Brickle, if you go to the next, using his example, he used his Facebook. So his product, the Brickle's product, is actually on multiple platforms, but his Facebook one is the fastest growing one right now, where he has 70,000 followers. So if you really think about it, 70,000 people you can reach to, if again 10% of them actually visits his landing page or buys something, that's wonderful, right? The next thing about social media is it humanizes your brain. It's much more than just here's our business, we're professional, all that. I think right now in the digital age, especially for small businesses, people want to see the face behind the company, right? Show them who you are, where you came from, and you can even document your journey in the small business world, right? Next. And then you have email marketing, by far my favorite type of strategy. It's cost effective and you have a high ROI, right? Right now, for the ROI for email marketing is every $1 you spend, you get about $40 back, right? Just if you build it efficiently, you build a good list. Again, the con of it is it takes longer to build a list, and people are less likely to give you their email, right? However, that could also be a benefit, because you don't want people that don't want your product on your list. So give you some example, beauty products. So my fiance Yang, she's in the US, I mean here, there's a beauty retail shop called Sephora, and they have a beauty rewards program, right? And she's on their list, and just this past month, they sent her an email on a Tuesday talking about sales that's going on for the month of November, exclusively and here are some exclusive items for list members, right? Long and behold, I'm at Sephora on the weekend or buying something from there. And so again, just another testimony that email marketing is still by far the best ROI that you get on some of your strategies. Go to the next. And then here's some example of what it looks like very simple, very clean. Crave here is another US beauty product company that started with the same principle I talked about. They provided valuable content. They provided engagement. So going back to maybe their landing page, maybe it's just their social media page, and they were consistent with the content. And then now they're expanding rapidly in the US here. Next one is pay-per-click. Let me go next. These are 4 of the most common avenues to take, right? Facebook includes Instagram. YouTube is also part of Google now, but we split it apart because they do so well in so many different avenues. So you have Facebook, you have Google, you have YouTube, you have Bing. Pay-per-click works tremendously as far as it gives you fast results. Unfortunately, you have to pay, right? You have to consistently pay, and oftentimes you have to experiment a lot. And for a small business owner, it might be a little bit more risky to use all that money to pay and experiment, to find out that 3 months later or maybe a month later, this avenue doesn't work for you, right? And so again, going back to the idea of to do this little to no budget, just start providing valuable content, whether it's on your website, through your social media platform, or start building a list. If you're a retailer, have your cashiers ask for a phone number or ask for email, right? And then from there, start providing valuable content via email. Next. And then collaborations. This kind of falls into influencers too. Here's a little bunny that I'll talk about. It's actually based in London. So with collaboration, you can do things like you collaborate with maybe even competitors or complementary competitors. You can reach out to small influencers within your industry to have them promote your product, right? One thing, since that you can you go back? Yeah, that since you mentioned about influencers, one thing to keep in mind is that you don't want the influencers that have millions and millions of followers, because it depends really on their engagement, right? It doesn't matter if you have 1 million followers when really only 1,000 people really engages on the post. that million followers just makes the price point go higher. So my recommendation would be find somebody within the $1,000 range of followers, right? Somebody that's it's a little bit smaller scale. It's not going to cost as much to have them post products on you or collaborate with them. But at the same time, they're going to have engaged followers, right? So that's one way to do with influencers. Again, don't follow the big numbers of followers. Focus on maybe smaller scale influencers, 1,000 to 5,000 followers. Okay, and then Proofoc, this little bunny here, it's actually the logo of a London coffee shop called Proofoc, right? And I love the story here because here's what he did. He actually, instead of giving his customers a rewards program where if you buy X amount of coffee, you get a free coffee, what he did was really interesting. He, in the rewards program, he listed all of his competitors and said, hey, if you buy from my competitors a cup of coffee, at the end of, if you go through all of this, I'll give you a free cup of coffee, right? And so what he's doing is he's really focusing on those people that love coffee, right? His tribe of coffee, and he knows that people want to find the best coffee out there, right? And he's willing to challenge that his coffee is better than his competitors, and he's willing to give away his customers just so that they'll come back, right? So that goes back to, again, the idea of finding your true tribe and your true follower, where if you have 1,000 people who are following you, maybe even across the country or across the state, just to come see you at a live event or see you perform, that's all you really need, right, for a small business. So we can't think large scale. We got to think really, really small scale. Okay, go next. And then, give you an example, right? So we have on the first column here, we have influencer Sally, right? So influencer Sally here, she's going to be focused. She is a hairstylist, but then she also sells beauty products. So what does she do? She decides to become an influencer herself, right? Because she's a small business. She can't pay another influencer to promote her content. So what she does is she goes into Instagram, and what she does is she starts providing content based off of these topics, right? So she finds out that she's local in the Twin Cities here in Minnesota. So she starts talking about best hair salons in Minnesota, right? And it's not a content to promote herself, but it's really a content of pushing her, maybe even to her competitors, to say this is how good the hair salon here is in the Twin Cities, right? The second one is hair serum for receding hairline, thinning hair. You can see I need that. Unfortunately, I didn't get the good genetics here, and my hairline is kind of pushed back. But yeah, so again, back to the point where she's a small business. She doesn't have that much budget. And so what does she do? She decides to take it upon herself to become an influencer and to really just promote be a thought leader in the industry, and not really promoting her business. Her business is a part of her, but it's not really what she's trying to do, right? She's promoting the industry. She's pushing the industry to grow more. In the second column here, we have a runner. His name is Runner John. And he wants to be a lifestyle coach, specifically focused on marathon runners, right? He doesn't care about enthusiasts or hobbyists who's running. His focus is on, I want people who are serious about marathons. I want people who are committed to marathons. And so what he does is he starts a blog. He's writing things about best shoes, long distance running shoes, best diet for a marathon. He's providing content, which is completely free, just a little bit of elbow grease. And then from there, it also happens that he provides these services on the site. He consults marathon runners, right? Now he's running a whole small business of a coaching business online. Okay. And then we have the third column here. We'll call her Finance Franny, right? There's certain limitation in the US here where if you're in the financial industry where certain content you can or can't share. But let's just say she wants to be a independent financial advisor where she's not working for a big firm, but she wants to talk about finance because she loves the topic, and she knows that people, this is an area that people typically get in trouble with, right? So what she does is she starts a YouTube channel. Like she starts a YouTube channel. She's sharing her story about how to invest, how she got started, how she got out of credit card debt, right? Sharing valuable content, and then getting engagement from her potential followers. And then lastly, she's just consistent. She also happens to, again, offer courses online for finance. Like someone could buy a small course to read up on these specific topics. Okay. Go next. So we have this, now we have all these strategies. How do you start? Where do you even start? You know, so I drafted up this diagram to really give you an idea of, if you're already a small business and maybe you are established or you already have some sort of traffic coming in, the new media is pretty much, marketing has always been kind of the same thing. It's just different avenues, right? It's been different avenue, different medium. So if right now you're doing really well with direct mail, where you're direct mailing all your customers and you do really good results, maybe you can start with building an email list, right? The second thing is networking. Maybe your word of mouth, a small community in your local area that's doing really well. You can start with social media, right? Build a community online. The biggest thing is always going back to your tribe, build a community. The third thing is TV. Let's say you do a really good job of already advertising online, on TV. You could just do YouTube. YouTube is basically the new media of TVs, right? YouTube. The fourth row is radio, right? So when you have radio, you're advertising on radio, you can look for local podcasts or even just podcasts that focus on your industry and promote yourself there, right? Have them talk a little bit about what you do, maybe even get on their podcast and just provide value to their followers, right? People that are, again, not huge mainstream podcasters, but podcasters that have a good amount of followers, they need content. They need people to get on their podcast. Lastly is newspaper. So if you're already doing well advertising on newspaper, start a blog, right? Be your own media company. Yeah. Anybody have any questions on this?
Yeah, probably end of a session. Once you finish, we can, or is it okay to ask you right now?
Yeah, for sure. No, we're pretty much at the end here. Q&A is next. Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. Okay, cool. So I mean, thanks for sharing your insight on the strategies. The question which I had is, like, small businessman, but let's say some business which is a startup.
Yeah.
And with the limited budget, small businesses, startup, they all have limited budget.
Mm-hmm.
And how to, without utilizing these expensive resources, what are the strategies to try the product fit, to try and check the consumer, where, like, what's the feedback on the product?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of strategy one should have before getting into the final MVP?
Yeah. Good question. So a lot of that comes with the market research and the validation. The things you can do without spending money really is to get on forums. You get into a community. So can I ask you, said you're in a dry freeze area industry, right?
That's right. Yeah.
May I ask, is it for human consumption? Is it for animal consumption? Or is it maybe not even for consumption?
Yes, for human consumption. It's fruits and vegetables, dried ones. Yes.
Dried one. Okay. Yeah. So with that, one of the easy things you can do is, if you can go on platforms like Reddit, maybe even get on to look up blogs article about that industry, and then provide insight or be engaged in some of the conversation, right? So what does that mean? So let's say I go to a Reddit forum that focuses on maybe frozen fruits for and frozen vegetables for endurance trainers, or maybe it's for athletes, right? I will actually go into the forum and be active in the community, right? So what does that mean? Provide content for them, and at the same time engage in some of the forums. So does that kind of answer your question?
Agreed. Yeah, I think that's a fair ask. Without budget, I think these are the things which you need to get engaged in and get the most out of it, actually. Interesting. Another question I have for you is, you mentioned about the influencers. Now, day by day, you keep looking at a lot of traffic on the influencer game as well. So You beat all these networking platforms, starting from Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, everywhere, Google, everywhere. Question is how to see the statistics, whether any of these influencers are actually converting into real deals, real sale.
Hmm.
What's the rate card? How do you track who's the best for in within your budget? Is there like a platform? Is there anything, any tools which one can use? Because if you look at the stock market, you know which equity to check. You have various statistics.
Hmm.
What about these influencers? If you want to, bank on one of them to use as a vehicle to sell your product, but whether that is actually useful.
Yeah. So, a lot of it, unfortunately, there's not a lot any platforms that I personally have used to really find that. I think the key indicator that I use in some of the clients that we worked in the past is to find influencers who have active engagement, right? So with little budget, it's just going to take some time for you. So for example, if you use Instagram, let's just say they have 2,000 followers, and then you look at some of their past 5 posts, and you find out they get 500 to 600 people liking, or maybe even people commenting. You can really see that they are a heavily engaged influencer, and they're probably someone you wanna work with, right? And you reach out and you talk. On the flip side, let's say you have somebody who has 5,000 followers, but if you look at their past 5 posts, really they only get 10 people to talk about them, maybe 20 people to really like and engage, right? So when it comes to finding influencers, you want to find influencers who are actively providing valuable content, right? They're not just doing it for entertainment's sake. They're getting engagement about the industry, or maybe even just about the specific products that they talk about.
I agree. So I think that kind of concept can work for getting the feedback, because if they're connected to the consumers directly, it's like a
Hmm.
first hand feedback from the consumer itself.
Hmm.
What do they need improvement in the product actually? And I think I kind of like, Nikita, your suggestion as well. And I think yeah, that's a great suggestion to look at to connect with them with using these media kits and disclose their partnership, having a personal contact and see what they have achieved in their past partnerships actually. Yeah,
Yeah.
fair point. Thank you for that, Johnny and Nikita.
No problem. Yeah,
Thank
thanks,
you.
Nikita. Yeah, anybody else have questions, or maybe even about your own business and that we can dig into?
I mean, just to share with you, like as we discussed, we based in London, and we're trying to establish this the startup venture, and we are very much interested into, once it is our go to market is, we are still trying to establish. Once the product is launched, we would like to see the product and look at the market in US as well. What do
Hmm.
you think is the ideal way to reach to the consumers in the US market? Because I think it's a very competitive. Plus,
Yeah.
if you look at all the e-commerce platform, they are heavily flooded with a lot of competition. How
Yeah.
to how to exclude and find your way to reach to the end consumer?
Yeah.
What's your
Yeah.
take on that? Yeah.
Yeah. So it goes back to your tribe, right? Especially when you're just starting out, you're getting validation. I don't, depending on where you want to go, if you want to be based in London and you want to start there as well, and then eventually expand to the US, I would even just throw out the US for right now, right? Focus on building a product or a tribe around in London, and get that going, because eventually when your product gets to market, and people are talking about it, it will naturally expand to the US, right? With people who are searching online with e-commerce. It's so competitive, like what you mentioned, to be saying I want to do it in the US and London, and I want to do it for millions of people, right? If you can start really small and grow there, scale there, perfect your product there, the natural word of mouth will start to grow everywhere.
Right. But like, usually people say that, when you want to grow, like you want to have a 10x growth, the
Mhm.
best thing to start local, and then go aggressive in different market based on your capabilities and the
Yes.
production power.
Yeah.
How to power that and use that apart from these e-commerce platform? What's the other way we can reach out to American clients and consumers?
Yeah. The biggest thing is right now, a lot of people are doing, a lot of companies actually are becoming media companies. So they, you're mentioning how do we reach these individuals? And so if you know who your ideal customer are, who you're really trying to target, find out where they live, what type of content they're consuming. That just comes from research and scouring the web. And then from there, turn yourself into a media company. Provide, I always follow the three rules, the 3 E's, right? You have to entertain them, you have to educate them, and then you have to execute in that exact order, right? So if you can entertain somebody, right? I entertain you guys into this webinar by saying top strategies for small businesses. And now I'm educating you guys on some of the top 5 strategies, right? And at the very end, I'm going to try to execute and make you do something, or have you try to execute on a specific process. And so my recommendation is that if you're trying to expand into the US, once you get your product fit and you know exactly who your tribe is, turn yourself into a small media company where you're focusing on those 3 E's.
Right. So probably we'll have to change our course or business strategy to get into the media section as well.
Yeah.
Thank
Well,
you.
you think about it, you have to, right? It's just
Yeah.
that's where the whole social media is coming from. Well, you don't have to if you can fall the back of influencers and if you have the budget to do that. But if you don't, then that's just kind of what you have to do.
Agreed. And I think brilliant initiative. Yeah, Yaj. Thanks for connecting all of us here across the continent. Without you, this wouldn't have been possible. So thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to, thanks, Ye, for the email addresses I can see on the chat. What exactly, like Maniac Technology, what exactly you guys do? Like, is it into marketing strategies only? Or when you say technology, are you doing anything with technology-based work
Yeah.
as well?
So we covered 3 things, right? We cover we do a holistic approach. We focusing on small business. So we our process is that we grow with you. But if you were to sum it all down, we focus on 3 things. Number 1 is branding, right? Anything from logo design to actual physical materials, marketing materials, we do that. Second thing is marketing strategy, right? So once we help develop the idea, find your tribe, we can grow through marketing strategy. And the third thing is we do technology, specifically focusing more on the marketing end of the technology, where we do integrations, web development. So yeah.
Right. One of the things which we are facing challenge in our product development is related to the packaging. Right. We
Yep.
are looking at some innovative packaging solution, and I don't know. If you guys or anyone on this forum can help or suggest, or we
Yeah.
can have a further conversation on that. I can drop you the emails on the chat box. Probably someone can pick that up. So that's
Yeah, why don't we do that? Yeah, we also we're doing marketing materials as far as packaging and branding too. So why don't you drop your email, and then Yi or I will be in contact soon.
Oh, brilliant. That would be great. That would be awesome. I think that is thanks, Johnny, for that power pack strategy, especially after coming from such a humble background. Well done in your
Absolutely.
career journey so far. I've looked at a few of you guys on the platform on the LinkedIn. I'll drop you the connection so that we can have some networking and we can stay in touch. And give me a shout if you guys are in London. I'm happy to grab a drink with you guys. Sorry to
After
sorry.
COVID.
Yeah.
Absolutely, it has to after COVID. Yes, definitely. Hopefully next year.
Yeah.
Brilliant. That's from me. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Wonderful questions.
Thank you.
Anyone else? I know Vip had a lot of great questions. So that was just really wonderful to listen to, but definitely utilize this time to ask questions to Johnny, our presenter, and also Yi, who's our presenting sponsor for this. Anybody else have questions regarding marketing strategies? I know this is a bustling season, so if you have questions right now, definitely ask them away. All right, if not, that would be fine. You guys know how to find Johnny. He is the marketing director from Manic and partner as well. So definitely visit Manic, go on their Facebook, like them, reach out to them if you have any questions. We love working with them, and they've just been an amazing partner with us this past year. I definitely made a friend out of this partnership, and I hope that you do too. So thank you again, Manic, for all of the work that you do for presenting and being a sponsor of this series. And we hope that we continue our relationship with you going forward. I know it's time is coming up, so I do want to wrap up with some announcements and upcoming events that we have. Next month, we will have our membership meeting for December, so we will not have the connections next month, just FYI. But this is definitely a great opportunity to meet with our members. You don't have to be a member to participate. You can join as a non-member. And this is also the event where we're going to be featuring our silent auction. So, you know, other ways how to market your business is donating to our silent auction. And this is the time, because this is the holiday season. You really want to showcase your product and services. This is a great way to do that. And then also we will be doing business education workshops in 2021. And so if you have any kind of inquiry, if you want to be a presenter, or if you just want to stay tuned, connected with what we're doing, please look out to our emails, and we'll let you know if we have anything going on. And then definitely, if you want to be either a sponsor or either a presenter in a business education workshop, please reach out. We are looking for presenters right now for 2021. And again, this is our Minnesota Hmong Chamber of Commerce Connections, and I look forward to seeing you all again soon. And we're going to wrap it up, and thank you for joining us. Goodbye, all.
Thank you.
Yeah, everyone.
Thanks. Bye. Bye now.
Bye.